To God be the glory. Al remembered that before he'd become a Calvinist, he had praised God for being the author of salvation and the Savior of sinners, had given all credit and glory to him, and had understood very clearly that he would never have sought him had God not moved upon him by his Spirit to do so. But he had also been certain that it was his responsibility to respond in faith from his heart. Surely, for man to respond to God by gratefully receiving the gift of salvation would not nullify anything Spurgeon said, and how could it challenge God's sovereignty for man to receive gratefully what God offered while giving God all the glory? Jan, in fact, had some time previously suggested, "It seems to me that my praise and gratitude to the Lord is more genuine and more glorifying to God than any Calvinist's." "How can you say that?" Al had protested. "Because my gratitude and praise comes from my heart. I wasn't programmed to accept Christ." "Programmed?" responded Al. "No Calvinist teaches that." "You don't call it that, but you were totally opposed to God, and instead of your heart being won to Christ by his love and grace and mercy, you were made to believe." "Not made to believe," Al interrupted impatiently. When would she ever understand, he thought. "Our wills are changed graciously." "Okay," responded Jan. "You were caused to believe. Al, you can't get around the fact that God did something to your will so that you believed for what you formerly didn't believe. And it didn't come about by any conviction on your part, any understanding, any faith on your part. I've been reading some of those Calvinist books you've got." Like every other argument, yes, that's what they'd become, this one too ended with neither of them giving any ground. But Al was increasingly shaken in his confidence that Calvinism was the truth of God. Most troubling had been the realization that his uncertainty seemed to arise out of Calvinism itself. No wonder Calvin had voiced so many warnings about doubts. Among the temptations which Satan assaults believers, none is greater or more perilous than when disquieting them with doubts as to their election. He at the same time stimulates them with a depraved desire of inquiring after it out of the proper way. I mean, when puny man endeavors to penetrate to the hidden recesses of the divine wisdom, in order that he may understand what final determination God has made with regard to him. So it wasn't proper to want to know God's final determination with regard to him? But there was nothing so important. It seemed that Calvin kept contradicting himself. Sometimes he even seemed to say that we should just trust God for our election. Our confidence ought to go no further than the Word. Al realized that if he did, he would turn from Calvinism back to simple faith in the gospel. Perhaps, thought Al in despair, he ought to go back even before what he had thought was his conversion and return to the church of his upbringing.